It begins with celebration, the kind that feels loud enough to convince everyone involved that nothing complicated could possibly be hiding underneath it. George Jefferson has moved up, literally and symbolically, and he wants the world to know it. Louise stands beside him, smiling, supportive, proud, but uneasy. She understands George's pride, but she also understands something he doesn't want to admit. Success doesn't erase uncertainty. It just rearranges it. The old neighborhood had its problems, but it also had familiarity. Here, everything is polished, quiet, and emotionally distant. Louise senses that fitting in might require more than money, and she's not sure George is prepared for that kind of challenge. The goodbye from the old place feels stranger than expected. Archie masks sentiment with sarcasm, but his irritation betrays attachment. Rivalry doesn't erase history. Even George, who insists he's thrilled to leave, hesitates for a split second before walking away. The past may have been cramped, but it was known, and stepping into the unknown always carries a cost, even when you dress it up as victory. The new apartment is everything George imagined. He gives a tour like a proud architect unveiling his masterpiece. He points out the space, the fixtures, the details that scream status. The bathrooms delight him most, symbols of abundance and freedom from waiting. To George, luxury means having more than you need, because having more proves you earned it. Louise nods, but her eyes drift toward the windows and hallways, trying to imagine daily life here, trying to picture neighbors who don't automatically feel like neighbors at all. Then the first crack appears in the form of Harry Bentley. Polite, cheerful, and completely uninterested in George's performance, Bentley greets them with an ease that immediately unsettles George. He doesn't act impressed. He acts friendly. Too friendly. He smiles too openly, touches too casually, and treats George like someone he's already comfortable with. And then he asks for something so unexpected it knocks George off balance completely. He wants George to walk on his back to relieve pain. George doesn't understand the request, doesn't trust it, and doesn't know how to refuse without looking foolish. So he agrees, and in that moment, the illusion of control slips. On his very first day in the new building, George realizes he doesn't know the rules here. Louise finds the situation amusing. Bentley is grateful and sincere. George is humiliated, not because he was harmed, but because friendliness has placed him in a vulnerable position, and vulnerability is not part of his plan for success. Before he can recover, the next shock lands harder. Lionel's girlfriend's parents, the Willises, live in the same building. Upstairs, the discovery hits George like betrayal. He thought moving would give him distance, space, relief for relationships he doesn't want to manage. Instead, he's closer than ever to people he hoped to leave behind. The future he imagined suddenly feels crowded. George reacts with anger and threats. He talks about moving again, about broken leases, about how unfair it is that his new life comes with old complications. But underneath the noise is fear. George isn't afraid of the Willises themselves. He's afraid that success didn't buy him the freedom he expected. That money didn't eliminate discomfort. That climbing higher didn't protect him from being seen, challenged, or unsettled. Then irony flips the situation on its head. Bentley casually mentions sharing elevator rides with someone connected to a powerful bank. Exactly the kind of contact George has been chasing. Instantly, George's outrage evaporates. The building transforms from a mistake into an opportunity. The neighbors he wanted gone become tolerable, even welcome. Louise watches the shift with clear eyes. George hasn't changed his values. He's revealed them. Comfort and tolerance are negotiable. Advantage is not. While George is learning that upward mobility doesn't cancel anxiety, the Bunker household is fighting a quieter, more intimate battle. Gloria and Michael introduce an idea that sounds harmless but proves explosive: fair fighting. No insults, no yelling, no shutting down. Arguments should be respectful and resolved openly. To Archie, this sounds ridiculous. To Edith, it sounds revolutionary. The first test is simple but loaded. Edith wants to host visiting relatives. Archie refuses, as he always has. In the past, that would have ended the discussion. But Gloria encourages Edith to speak up. Michael supports her. Edith pushes gently at first, then more firmly. Archie responds with dismissal and insults, declaring the matter closed. But the rules mean Edith isn't supposed to retreat anymore. The living room becomes unfamiliar territory. Archie tries to twist the rules, using them only when convenient. He storms away, assuming distance will end the conflict. It doesn't. Edith even threatens to sleep on the couch, a small rebellion that feels enormous for someone who has spent years accommodating. For a moment, Archie softens. He offers food. He shows kindness. Edith believes progress has been made. Then the illusion collapses. The relatives cancel their visit, and Archie becomes generous and agreeable. Edith thinks the conversation worked, but when the visit is rescheduled, Archie's resistance returns instantly. The kindness was never growth. It was convenience. Edith learns a painful truth. Change that depends on circumstances isn't change at all. Another couple enters the picture as a distorted mirror. Amelia and Russell appear glamorous, confident, and wealthy. Russell boasts about trips, expenses, appearances. Edith is impressed by the romance on display, the affection, the charm, the polished partnership. But privately, Amelia confesses she feels lonely and afraid. Russell is rarely home. He chases validation elsewhere. Amelia tried to reinvent herself to keep his attention, and it didn't heal the emptiness. The perfection was a costume. Archie, watching Russell, feels disgust rather than envy. Russell treats loyalty as optional, something money can compensate for. Archie may be crude and controlling, but he believes in staying. He doesn't romanticize abandonment. In his own rough way, loyalty matters to him, even if he expresses it badly. The contrast reveals something uncomfortable. Love doesn't always look gentle, but absence can be just as cruel. The final conflicts turn toward everyday ethics. Archie brings home supplies from work, insisting it's normal, deserved, not really stealing. Michael challenges him. Gloria admits she's justified small wrongs too. The family confronts how easily people bend rules when it feels convenient. Irene, Edith's friend, refuses to excuse it. She calls the behavior what it is, and suddenly consequences feel close. Archie panics, not out of guilt, but out of fear. He tries to apologize while quietly suggesting silence. Irene doesn't accept the deal, and then irony strikes. Archie's own materials are stolen. The man who defended bending rules is furious at being wronged. His outrage exposes the contradiction he's been living with all along. Rules should protect him, but restrain everyone else. Across these stories, one theme keeps repeating. Moving up doesn't eliminate insecurity. It reshapes it. George gains status, but loses certainty. Edith finds her voice, but learns how fragile progress can be. Gloria and Michael pursue fairness and discover how difficult it is to practice. Archie demands justice while granting himself exceptions. Everyone wants dignity. Everyone fears vulnerability. And that's why these moments linger. Because they show that success doesn't fix relationships, money doesn't solve fear, and authority doesn't guarantee respect. People argue, retreat, contradict themselves, and try again. Not because they've mastered life, but because showing up, even imperfectly, is the only way forward.